Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in. Today, we're going to be talking about Litecoin and its valuations against Bitcoin, as well as XRP and its valuation against Bitcoin as well. We're looking at these two. I've talked about these, um, for a lot the past week, more so Litecoin than XRP, but I wanted to make a video where I'm talking about both of them at the same time because they're buds. And what do I mean by that? Well, XRP and Litecoin have a very interesting relationship, to say the least. Uh, the fact that they tend to move in tandem. Now, it's a little easier to look on the monthly chart, and I'll bring that up, and so you can see it. And so you'll see, and because I have them stacked on top of each other, we can really see month by month the synchronicity of these two assets. They move up the same time and they bleed significantly at the same time. You could see this move and then this move, same area. And you could do this too, just by going to compare, type in whatever asset you're looking for, find the exchange, and then add it as a new panel. And you'll have this also, and you can stack two assets on top of each other. With that said, they move in the same they move in the same breath, and right now we're seeing that as well. Last month, both assets moved at the same time in the month of April, and now we see that Litecoin is kind of taking the reins, but today you kind of see that synchronicity coming back. And mind you, this does is not exact to the day, but within the month we should see that synchronicity, meaning yes, Litecoin is moving up, a considerable amount the past 3 days. XRP should be catching up shortly, which is something to keep in mind. You might be interested in using that as an indicator. If one asset moves, the other one's most likely to move as well, in the short term. And so, with that said, you can make a position on XRP, wait for that move, sell, and then if a few weeks down the line we see XRP move before Litecoin, then you can accumulate Litecoin and wait for that move. It's very very risky because you could be waiting forever. However, it's something to keep in mind. You might get some kind of return on investment if you just look at on the monthly and compare. Okay, if you look on the month, you could see that Litecoin has moved 31% against Bitcoin, but XRP has only moved 2% against Bitcoin. In which case, you can accumulate XRP at this point and expect a move to match the par of Litecoin. However, that's not what I'm here to talk about today. What I'm here to talk about is the synchronicity, and that these two assets are now leaving the buy regions. They have been leaving the buy regions for quite some time. The risk is getting higher. And that's essentially what I want to talk about. These two assets are 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 rising. And when the price rises higher, the risk becomes higher. And obviously I don't have my drawings up on XRP, but I can briefly bring it out. You can see we are leaving that buy region now, which is important to note. So we've been talking about these two assets for a while now. We've been talking about how these were the best times, the absolute best times to accumulate these assets was at the bottom. Luckily, I was able to grab a position at the bottom, um, or relatively speaking, at the bottom in the region. If you are now considering, okay, you were hesitant on buying Litecoin or XRP and you are looking to buy it now, you can. I'm not going to advocate for it, but this is not financial advice. My rule of thumb is, the rule that I follow, and I'm pretty strict about it, especially with these two assets, is that if it's outside the buy region, I'm not going to buy. I don't care if it's up. You can make the exception of if it was a Satoshi level higher than the buy region, sure. But as of right now, they are clearly outside of the buy region. In fact, Litecoin is 31%, more than 30% above the buy region. XRP is about 20% ish above the buy region. These assets are rising, and so you can buy it here. However, you have to know that the risk is a lot higher at this level than when we were buying or when some people were buying at these levels. Um, they have more selling power than you, and that's just going to increase the higher the price goes. So uh, you can buy here and you can see some kind of return on investment from where we are here to the top of the body of the candle on in December. We're looking at a 412% gain against Bitcoin with XRP, and from here it's about I think 100 or 200% move up against with Litecoin against Bitcoin. So the returns are diminishing at this point because the price has already risen. So keep that in mind. Another thing is that these assets are risky as a whole. I'm not even taking into account the price. The asset as a whole is risky. The times when it pumps is so short-lived that the majority of this chart is just bleeding. It takes 2 to 4 months for it to rise from the bottom to the top, and it's going to be months on end of bleeding. If that is something you are not okay with, that you're essentially having to time the market, right? You're essentially having to time the market. If you are unable to do that, whether that's due to not having enough time because you have to be constantly looking at the chart, or your risk appetite isn't like that, then maybe these two assets are not for you. And that is just the truth. These two assets are very unforgiving. They give you like it's like smoking crack. The crack part is these moves up here. Okay, it's very nice. It's a great feeling. However, the come downs last a hell of a lot longer, and they're much worse than you might expect. No one is able, not a lot of people are able to stomach a 80% loss on their Bitcoin valuations and potentially even more on against the US dollar. It's just it's just not something people are comfortable with. And if you say you are, rethink again because I've been through that and it's not fun. Like I'm not happy about it. And I feel like coming into this cycle, I get a second chance to redeem myself. And so far, these are why the rules that I have are the rules that I have is to mitigate that risk. With that said, we should be expecting if this is the move, right? And I think it is, especially with Litecoin. And if Litecoin's going to be moving now, XRP is most likely moving as well. Um, Buckle up. It's going to happen very quick. It happens within a quarter, and it'll be over before you know it. But that's pretty much it for today, you guys. Keep an eye out on these two coins. Also, keep an eye out on Bitcoin. It's currently still range bound. It's been range bound for the past 2 months. We're down 3.5% for the month, but I mean, the month's just started. We're May 5th, for Christ's sake. So, no significance yet on this May monthly candle. But something to keep in mind, as long as Bitcoin is remaining the way it is, sideways bound, then Litecoin and XRP should be having, um, good months ahead of it. But that's all for today, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye bye.